Hi, this is Samantha here from RecipeThis.com and also the voice behind the popular podcast Magic with Gadgets. Today I wanted to show you just how easy it is to cook a leg of lamb in your air fryer. We are demonstrating with our air fryer oven and showing you how to do roast potatoes at the same time. It's one of those delicious, easy air fryer roast dinners and one that us milliners love to have on a regular basis. Also, because we're demonstrating with the air fryer oven, we can have a bone-in leg of lamb because of course that size wouldn't fit in a normal regular air fryer basket. And we also have 450 plus more easy air fryer recipes over at RecipeThis.com, as well as a fantastic air fryer mini course which is free, and our free air fryer newsletter. I recommend you check it out, and if you have any questions or comments you can reach out to us or just comment on this video. So this is the leg of lamb we have. It's bigger than the one that we have on our blog, as this one's 1.7 kilos. It's quite a big one. So we're going to be seasoning this with salt and pepper, or Dominic is going to be for us. And then we're going to load it into the air fryer oven. This is all about the logistics changing a little bit because it's a bigger lamb, so it's going to need longer to cook. But lamb in the air fryer oven is delicious, so we can't wait to try it. So just give it a good seasoning with salt and pepper, and it's just fantastic like that. And we're going to give it a 30-minute kickstart, so 30 minutes before we add potatoes, because otherwise the potatoes will be done too soon and you don't want cold potatoes, do you? So you can season it whilst it's on its shelf and then just place it into the air fryer oven. We would prefer to use a higher shelf, but because of the size of the leg of lamb, we have to go in with the medium shelf. So this of course means the potatoes are going to be lower, so we'll have to keep an eye on the cook times for that. So let's set the time and temperature. Turn it on. You want the temperature to 180 Celsius, 360 Fahrenheit. And then you want to start by setting it for half an hour. We're going for half an hour because then it's going to beep and then you know it's then time to add your potatoes. That's not the entire cooking time. So for the trick for the potatoes to cook at the same time as the leg of lamb, what I recommend you do is you chop your roast potatoes and you place them on the shelf that you're going to be using, because I fall into this habit of sometimes doing too many or not doing enough. So you can slice them up and see what they look, and then you can realistically imagine that this is your tray of roast potatoes that is going to be going in the air fryer oven. So then once you've chopped them, what I recommend you do is you load them into a mixing bowl. Oops, I always drop some, but it doesn't matter because I didn't land on the floor, right? And then I add my seasonings. We all have different opinions as far as air fryer roasted potatoes go, but I'm thinking about serving them with lamb, so it's a bit different to what I would normally add. So I've got salt in there, mixed herbs. Dominic yawning because obviously he finds it boring me doing roast potatoes because I'm much slower than him, but I'm not a chef so I can't be as quick. And then I love to add some thyme, and then I would normally include rosemary, but we're on lockdown at the moment here in Portugal and I cannot source any dried rosemary at all at the moment, so I'm using mint, which also goes lovely with lamb. And then once you've done that and added your seasonings, you can of course swap those. You can use parsley instead, you can use rosemary, you can use bouquet garni, it's totally up to you. And then give them a good mix. And now, as I mentioned in the recipe, if you go to RecipeThis.com and check out our leg of lamb, what I do is instead of using extra virgin olive oil, we actually use surplus fat that's dripped off the lamb because it gives absolutely lovely flavouring. So what I do is at this point is take your drip tray pan out. Very careful because it's not very deep, and then add a tiny bit, as Dominic's demonstrating there, of the juices from the lamb. And then this is your alternative to olive oil. Note that you're only using a little bit to give it that lovely crispy texture. And also note that because your potatoes are placed in the air fryer oven below the lamb, you're going to get more little drips on your potatoes, and they make them taste delicious, and they make such a difference. And I couldn't imagine doing roast leg of lamb with potatoes any other way. So now you've mixed them, you want to place them back onto the tray you're using. Kind of spread them out enough so that they'll fit, and then look at that, they look perfect. You'll find that as you transfer it to the air fryer oven, the odd one will slip off, but you can just plonk it back on and it'll be fine. So as you can see in our air fryer oven, we've got our shelf with our lamb leg on, and it's had a 30-minute blast, so it's nowhere near cooked at the moment, but it's time to add in the potatoes. And as you can see with the shelving, the lamb is on the second shelf down, or the middle shelf is what many people call it. I would much prefer it to be a bit higher up, but the size of our leg is just too big for that. So that means now that the potatoes are much lower than what we would normally cook them for. So by cooking them for longer, we can ensure the potatoes are cooked properly and the leg of lamb is. And of course, when you're putting this shelf of potatoes in, if they fall out a bit, you can just place the potatoes in once the shelf's in place, if that's easier for you. And then, like I mentioned, the lamb will then drip down onto the potatoes, and any extra fat will then go in the drip tray that you can save for another meal if you need some lamb stock for something. So now it's time to close it up and get it going again. So turn it on, and you want the temperature at 190 Celsius, 360 Fahrenheit, and the time to 50 minutes. Sorry about all that beeping. And then you're just waiting for it to get going. And we've baked. Let's check on our food, shall we? Oh wow. Look at that for a leg of lamb. That look amazing. And then of course you can see the perfectly cooked roast potatoes in there too. And you can see the lovely colour on them thanks to the fats of the lamb. And we can't wait to take a closer look. So it's all out the air fryer oven, and as you can see, we've got some lovely roast potatoes here and a lovely leg of lamb. I love to put the fork through the potatoes just to see that they're well cooked, and they've got a lovely crisp on them. And that one looks particularly nice. I'm sure that's what I'm going to get to eat. And as you can see, they've got the lovely seasoning has stayed on them because of the way they've been prepped, and they're just ready to go. The leg of lamb, a lot bigger than I would normally cook in the air fryer oven, but it was all the butchers had available, and it's still cooked perfectly, even though it's ended up on the middle shelf rather than the top shelf. And very shortly we're going to start cutting into it and seeing what it's like. Now it's time to carve it. I can't wait to see how delicious the lamb is, but for being cooked, our first thought was how much it had shrunk whilst it had been in the air fryer oven, which to us says that it's pretty much well on its way. And wow, can you see the colour on that? I know our lighting on our video is not perfect. That's because when we started cooking it, the beautiful sun was out, and when it came to getting it out the air fryer oven, the sun had done a disappearing act. But wow, that looks fantastic, and I cannot wait to tuck in. So this is some of the leg of lamb that we cooked in the air fryer, as well as some of the roast potatoes that we made. So let's try them. These roast potatoes are absolutely delicious. And because of the fact that you've put the fat in them, they're really, really soft, like you get in the oven. And then of course, there's the leg of lamb. It made quite a lot given its size, and it's going to last us a few days and a few days of leftovers. This leg of lamb is absolutely delicious. You know, we find that because you're just salting the outside, that you could do with a good salting once you've sliced it, but apart from that, it's absolutely perfect. You know, you might have a different sized leg of lamb to us. Just note that we added, I think it was about an extra 20 minutes. Because ours was much bigger, you can of course use our recipe that we've got, recipethis.com, which was based on a small leg of lamb, or just check on it and see how it's doing depending on your size that you've got. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the Recipe This family. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook and Pinterest. We also have a weekly newsletter at recipethis.com/newsletter, where we share with you our latest kitchen gadget recipes, what we're cooking in the Milner kitchen, and so much more. As well as this, we recommend that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then whenever we have a new video, you will be the first to know. And if you want to know about all our future videos, then I recommend you hit the bell for instant notifications. But even better, we now have a podcast. It's called Magic with Gadgets. Simply search Magic with Gadgets on your favourite podcast player and you'll find us there.